Hello, everyone, and welcome to SuttonsDaze. If you're new here, my name is Lisa, and we are all about pantry preparedness. But today is going to be a little bit different. I wanted to sit down, give you a real life update, both for me and the channel. Let's get started. First off, I know a lot of you have been asking about canning projects, okay? And I received a comment on a video recently that said, I really miss your canning videos. And I went, yeah, me too. Okay. There's a reason why I'm not doing any canning right now. And it's the reason I'm also not doing any gardening. And it's the reason I'm also not working on my dead hedge. And it's the reason why everything is going the way that it is. And I want to be totally upfront with you guys. I'm going to be stepping back from canning for just a hot minute, okay? I have a 60 to 70% tear in my right rotator cuff. I knew that there was an issue ever since last November. I've been on this for 10 months now. And every time I brought it up to my surgeon's office or my general practitioner, everyone just kept saying, you're just healing. You're just healing. Don't worry about it. Until one day, I was walking through the kitchen and literally bent in half in excruciating pain, dropped my phone, couldn't hold anything in my right arm. And I'm like, what? It felt like my arm was falling out, and it just progressively got worse from there. So after nagging, being testy, she's used to it. My doctor sent me for an x-ray. I said, an x-ray is not going to tell you what's wrong with my shoulder. It's a torn rotator cuff. I can tell you that. And she's, oh, well, we're going to send you for an x-ray. And then we'll send you to physical therapy. For what? When you don't know what's wrong, Okay, fine, I'll play the game. So then I, on my own, made an appointment for an MRI. And on my own, made an appointment for an orthopedic surgeon to have an appointment with them. I'm like, if I have to remortgage the house, I'll remortgage the house. Fine. But I saw the physical therapist 3 times. And that's after I got the x-ray. And then I finally got the MRI. And 2 days after the MRI, my appointment for the orthopedic surgeon was happening. And when I saw him, we had a nice long discussion because I have reached this ripe old age where legitimately I have had very, very little ever wrong with me physically. Never any kind of major surgery until this. And, I just don't know what I don't know. And so I kind of had to spell that out for him. I said, this has been going on since last November, since my surgery in November, which was the most major surgery I've ever had. And nobody's listening to me. And it's a torn rotator cuff. He goes, yes, it is. It's 60 to 70% torn. Great. So I was torn at that point, because part of me was, thank you. I'm right. I am justified in how I'm feeling and what I'm saying. And the other part of me was, come on, seriously? I wanted it to be something much easier, but it's not. So he gave me a cortisone shot. And for the next 2 days, I was in excruciating pain. And it has lessened a little bit since then. Now I'm worried that because it's lessened, that I'll do something that I'm not supposed to do and not know it and make it worse. You can't get out of my head. It's just no fun. So I go back to see him. Well, now it's, 4 or 5 weeks. And I'm to keep going to physical therapy. And she changed the therapy now that we know what it is. We're not manipulating my arm quite that way anymore. But we're building up the muscles around the rotator cuff so that they can bear the brunt of life, And she said yesterday that 25% of rotator cuff injuries can heal themselves, do heal themselves. And I'm honestly, I'm not that lucky. You know what I mean? So we'll see how it progresses. But if it's not starting to heal, when I go back and see him, the surgeon, then we will make an appointment for surgery. But that won't happen until after the first of the year because then my deductible is going to be astronomical. And because he puts a buffer of time between the cortisone shot and surgery. I'm not looking forward to this. So I'm just doing my due. By doing my due means I'm not doing nothing, honey. Nothing. Okay. I can't shut down my garden. I can't paint the greenhouse. I can't help work on the greenhouse. I can't can. I'm doing the bare minimum when it comes to my right arm. Yes, I'm right-handed. Wah. Okay. It'll be fine. It is what it is. I'm slowly getting to the point where I'm not whining about it anymore, even though in my head I'm like, shut up already. But, you know, and I will throat punch the next person that tells me, well, you are getting older. I really will. But aside from all of that, I'm not canning right now. And I will not be canning until January. Why will I start canning in January, regardless of what's going on? Well, because my friends, it's called Canuary. That's why. And if I have to, my contribution will be me instructing Phil on how to can. So we will figure it out as we get closer. There's too much else to do right now to break that down. But yes, Canuary is returning this year. So don't worry about it. The pantry projects are still going to be rolling in. There's still things that I can do and that I can work with you with. In fact, I'm going to share a really big challenge that I'm giving myself. Because with all of this going on, all of the uncertainty, there's the change in our income. There's the change in my abilities because of this. And there's just so much in the world right now that's so uncertain. And so I kind of took a really hard look. I one-handedly worked on the pantry last weekend. It took me an entire day. But yeah, I'm good. All's good. Kind of readjusting, reassessing, changing some stuff around because with my own freeze-dried stuff, I had to look at a different way to tackle things in there. And so that's what we did. That's what I did. Phil helped me hang some curtains because for those of you that have seen it before, I had blinds, in those windows, but along the crack, you could get sunlight coming through. And I didn't want that because it hit the shelf that I planned on putting my home freeze-dried food on. So I ordered some blackout curtains and we had to empty the top two shelves. And then Phil climbed up on the stool and, hung the curtains for me and tucked them down below. And I managed to put everything back together again. And during that, I managed to assess what is in the pantry even more. I know because I've been adding to it and I've been aware of it. And, I found a few gaps that I filled in. I also found a very old canister of coffee on the very bottom back shelf. Don't ask. It's fertilizing my hydrangeas. I'm good, all good. But I made the decision because we had to go get, for my sanity's sake, a small freezer, a 5 cubic foot freezer, because we have a quarter of a beef coming in here shortly. And with one arm, I can't get through everything I need to get through and had planned to get through in the freezer. And so I needed some place to put this beef because it's going to be just under 200 pounds. And so he went and got the freezer. And at that point, I'm like, okay, I have just rearranged the stuff in this room. I've assessed where we're at. I've organized everything. The freezer's organized. I've got a secondary freezer for temporary use for the beef. I have to yell stop. And even though I don't want to, really, really, really don't want to, I have to say stop. So from now until the end of the year, I am not buying groceries with 3 exceptions. Okay. Maybe 4. Okay. So 1, Phil drinks milk. So I will keep getting milk. I'm not going to make him suffer for my decisions. Number 2, until I perfect making my own yogurt, I'll be buying yogurt. But even when I perfect making my yogurt, to begin with, I'm going to need to buy some milk, so that's 2. Number 3, yeah, I think that's right. Well, number 3, for right now, my protein what do they call them? Tortillas. I get all the different sizes. I have more breakfast burritos than a two-person household should ever have in the freezer right now. But I keep getting those because I don't eat bread anymore. Really, very, very rarely. And so most of what I make on tortillas for myself. And so I just keep those around in the house to do that. So milk for Phil, milk or yogurt, and then the low-carb tortillas. Now, my number 4 that I remembered last minute is my monthly Azure order, because I don't want to put, we have a very small drop, and I don't want to put our drop at risk by not putting in an order. So I want to make sure that I'm still contributing every month and it doesn't hurt us. This coming month, I'm actually going to be focusing on frozen fruits and vegetables, mainly vegetables, that I can take straight from Azure into the freeze dryer, And one of those things is going to be diced beets, because Phil loves beets. And so I'm going to freeze dry beets, which takes a little bit of a load off my canning shelves for sure. And I can't remember what else I had in the cart other than that. But I know that I put in an order and, it's not going to be astronomical, but it's just going to still contribute. But other than that, I am still watching sales, okay, because I can't help it. But I'm not going to buy any more chicken, any more pork. I won't need to buy any more beef. There's literally nothing else that I will need to buy before the end of the year. And when the end of the year comes, I'm going to reassess and decide if I want to take it farther. We have 99 days left in 2025. I don't know about you. I'm trying to figure out where the last 20 some odd of September went, because it was just yesterday, And now we have 99 days left in the year. And so I'm going to focus my intentions and my energy on working with what we have and getting creative with what we have and bringing you guys along for the party. A lot of it's not super exciting. I cook, okay? So I am going to be covering stuff like that. But I've had some very valid questions about, it's just the two of you. How do you cook a different dinner every single night of the week? Because I can't figure out how to cook for less than an army, And I get that. I've been there and I've done that. And I still fall into that trap. It is virtually impossible for me to make a small pot of ham and pea soup. It just doesn't happen. So on this week's menu, I had split pea soup last night for dinner on the list because I knew I was going to be gone. I was volunteering, teaching pantry preparedness for a local organization. And so I knew that Phil could have split pea soup for dinner. I didn't have to cook it. He just had to heat it up. Poof, and that was leftovers from, Saturday. I can't make a small pot of soup. It's virtually impossible. But I do know that you can take it and you can freeze what's left over. But I will be showing you how I downsize my cooking as much as I can and bring you along for part of the ride, or at least tell you the story while you look at my plate. You know what I mean? Sometimes by the time dinner is there, I'm toast. I'm really, really tired. Last week, I taught a canning class at our local library, and that was right after physical therapy, which was not a good idea, but I didn't have much of a choice in the matter. It was a prior commitment and a being told you have to have physical therapy at this time, So it just was what it was. But by the time I got home, I was in so much pain. I was exhausted, and I just decided at that point that I can't can anymore right now. I just can't do it. So I'm not even really going to be canning for myself. If I do, it's going to take me all day long, and it's going to be exhausting. And that's not really a great time to film it, if you know what I mean. So I hope that you'll bear with me through that. But we are going to be having a little bit of fun. We've hired a nice young man who's helped us for years now when we need him. We didn't really think we'd need him anymore. We got the tractor. We could do everything now. No, we can't. There's a lot of jobs here that are halfway finished that I really want to get done before the snow flies that require two armed people. And so we've hired him again. And that's another reason why I don't want to go grocery shopping, because that grocery money can go towards paying him, you know. And he does a great job. He's a self-starter, self-motivator, gets it done. And I don't have to worry about anything with him. And the dogs think he walks on water, you know. So we're going to manage to get everything kind of caught up and taken care of over the course of like the next 4 to 5 weeks. I'm figuring mid-October, because I also have about 500 cloves of garlic that I have to plant. Yeah. You know, it could be worse, right? It can always be worse, my friends. So I wanted to give you that little update. I'm still going to be here. I'm still going to be in your ear. We're still going to talk about being prepared. And I have a massive library of canning. So if you want to check those out, I will put a playlist, you know, at the end of this video. And I'm still here. I'm still here to answer your questions. I'm still here to help you as you go along. A lot of you know I take this pretty seriously. So when people message me, I try to get back to them as soon as I can. If they send me an email, I try really hard to reply. Sometimes I just can't for another day or so, you know, but sometimes I can do it right away. If they ask a question, I try to answer it promptly. The best way to reach me is to email me, and that's SuttonsDaze@outlook.com, and I will do everything that I can to get back to you. If you want to, I have a newsletter that comes out every Wednesday and every Saturday, and that has recipes in it. It has different tips or tricks, you know, regarding your pantry, and it lets you know what's going on and what kind of sales are going on, that kind of stuff. So if you are interested in that, you just go to the link that I have in the description box below of the video. So if you're looking at this on your TV, you have to go to your phone, your tablet, your computer, and you go to the website and you sign up for the newsletter, and then you have to reply confirming that you want to be a recipient of the newsletter. And hopefully, then you can hang out with me too. Because that way I know if anything happens, you've always got a way to get hold of me, and I've always got a way to get hold of you. And that makes me feel a lot better, okay? It looks like our membership group on YouTube is going to start up book club again for the winter season. So we are determining right now, the vote at this point is yes. And so we're determining now how to move forward with that, what day, what time, and what book. One book a month. And we will only get together once a month to talk about the book. So if you're interested in being part of that book club, we typically do some kind of dystopian fiction or kind of like how-tos, like how to make soap or how to do this or how to, you know, different things. So if that sounds like something that you'd be interested in, the Pantry Pals are a great group of people. I love spending time with them. And we have our regular chat for Pantry Pals every Friday night at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And there is a replay, but for some reason it will not replay the live chat, and I do not know why. Okay, that is my update. That is why I'm not canning. That's why you're not seeing me can. I'm extremely limited right now on what I can do with my right arm without causing myself significant pain. And I haven't had a good night's sleep in months. So I'm going to do everything they tell me to do. Well, most of it anyway. Okay, everybody, I hope to see you still bopping around the channel. We're going to talk about all kinds of things. And if you have any suggestions for things that you would like to see, please throw it in the comment section down below, because there is a video coming on me showing you how I cook dinner in a fondue pot, because a lot of people have asked, okay, show us how it works. Okay, I'm going to show you how it works. We're going to do that too. So if you have any other things that you would like, I am open to suggestions. I promise nothing. Okay, throw it in the comment section down below. Until next time, everybody, be safe. Keep stacking it to the rafters, my friends.